A very warm welcome to all of you to Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond podcast, and this is your host, Dr. Vignesh Devraj. In today's episode, let us discuss the concept of Rasayana. Many of my patients, or whenever I go for lectures, they come and ask me, Doctor, can you tell me about Rasayana? I've heard a lot about Rasayana, and they think this is some kind of an esoteric thing, like it can make a person become super young, and it is the method of longevity and anti-aging. This is what they think Rasayana is. To some extent, there is a lot of truth to it. But let's just deconstruct what is Rasayana in Ayurveda. What are the multi-dimensions? I'm not going in a very deep diving into concepts, but let's just understand what exactly is Rasayana mentioned in the Ayurvedic textbooks and what are the Rasayana practices that we have today. Now, Rasayana is one of the branches. If you have to put it in a layman's language in English, there is a very lazy translation. We can call it rejuvenation. Rejuvenate, this is one of the words that are being used. You can also call it anti-aging. You can also call it nourishing. These are some of the words that you can associate with the word Rasayana. And Rasayana, it comes from the word Rasa. Like somewhere, this word Rasa is considered as a dhatu in the body. Like we have the 7 dhatus. The word dhatu means that which supports, protects, and supports or creates a foundation. And in one of my previous episodes, we spoke about the concept of ama. Now, ama is a result of when the rasa can also be called as the first digested particle as soon as you consume food. As soon as I consume food, it has to blend with certain enzymes and it will start breaking down into a part where the nutrients are absorbed into the blood and the wastes are eliminated. Now, this process of converting the food into, before it is absorbed in the body as nutrients, there is a transit part. Now, that is what we call it as rasa. So, when the Agni of the body, when the metabolism is very weak, this ability of digestion can become weak. And when the digestion is very good, the real nutrients are absorbed. So that ability of the body to absorb the right nutrients and to eliminate that which is not healthy, it is not required, that means the Agni of the body is good. And once the Agni is good, that means your ability to absorb the right nutrients from the food you consume gets improved. That's a sweet spot that we all need to strive for. So that, the food you consume, you take the best thing out of it. Like when you see a good company or a good working environment, what does that mean? People who are very productive, people who are talented, they give a safe space for them. And the people who are not productive and people who are not happy with working, people who are lazy, it's a very difficult space to survive. That's what you call it as a very productive environment. And that's exactly how our body should be. We should make the body productive enough to extract the healthy nutrients from the food and eliminate whatever is left. Now, that is what rasa is. The first step of extracting these nutrients. That is what the rasa dhatu is. Now, once the rasa dhatu is correct, then all the other parts will eventually get better. So, that's why we say, ama starts from rasa dhatu. And there is no pain without ama. There is no disease without ama. And there is also a term called niramaya, which means when your ama is minimal or least, that is when you are in a state of health. And Rasayana is that ultimate space where your rasa dhatu, which is at its best, continues to all the other dhatus in your body and it becomes the best. And your body is glowing and it's full of vitality. And that is what this concept of Rasayana is. So if you look at it, there are 2 aspects of Ayurveda. One is swasthya rakshanam. That means to protect and preserve your good health state or vitality. And the other is whenever people fall sick, we do the opposite of it so that they can get recovered or they reverse their problem and they cure it. These are the 2 branches. And Rasayana falls in that stage where I protect my healthiest state and there is always a room for improvement. In Charaka Samhita, there is also a statement. This concept of ultimate health is an utopia because you will always end up finding some room for improvement. And if you see some of these experts who are trying to, have the longevity expert, it's always a screenshot of what your state right now is. You have to always keep working on it. Like Okay, I could eat healthy, work out, do yoga, do meditation, work on my sleep, and do it well. And if I follow this for 3 to 6 months, my blood markers will be good. I'll be fit, I'll be mobile, I will have a fantastic cognitive ability. But as soon as I let go, sooner or later, that I could fall sick. So it's always a work in progress. And Rasayana is that area. You need a basic element of health in your system to enjoy or do the therapy of Rasayana. So the one of the methods that is said, Rasayana is usually something that is done post your Panchakarma therapy, which is once you detox, once you purify your system, only then Rasayana is advised. Otherwise, and then the best analogy that is told in Ayurveda is, before you put a fresh paint on the wall, you need to remove the old stains that is already there. Otherwise, you are going to put the new paint blend with the stains, and this will create other problems. Same way, it's also mentioned, before you put a new dye to your cloth, you have to remove the old dye. Only then the ability of the cloth to absorb the new dye can be good. Same way for the body, before we give a Rasayana therapy, we have to purify the system. And then when you add the Rasayana therapy, that is where the system gets better. Now, can Rasayana be done when people are sick? No. The body needs to be in a certain healthy state or certain basic criteria where the Agni is good, where a person's eliminatory practices are going naturally well, the sleep is also good, or when the mind is also in a good state. Only then when you do Rasayana, it will have an impact. Of course, there are some medicines that are coming under the name Rasayana, like we have this word called Narasimha Rasayana, Chyawanprash, which is the flagship product of many of the Ayurveda. Many people come to know about Ayurveda because of Chyawanprash. And the main ingredient of Chyawanprash is the amalaki, which is the Indian gooseberry, which is very potent in vitamin C. And vitamin C is one of the most important elements. Vitamins, like the word vitamin, comes from the word vital, which is very important for the body. Like even if you look at the lung capacity of the person, we call it the vital capacity. So anything that which is very important, the basic micronutrient, the trace elements that our body need. But before we are able to absorb that, the body needs to be in a healthy state. The absorption ability has to be good, metabolism has to be corrected, and then when you do the Rasayana, the body is able to accept it well. That is why before we give any Rasayana drugs like Chyawanprash or Narasimha Rasayanam, there are other multiple combinations like Brahma Rasayanam. Before we give that, we always do a lot of Deepana Pachana, which is to correct the body's metabolism. That is to reduce the ama. Maybe they say when they look at their tongue, there is a lot of coating in their tongue. They say they have a lot of mucus problems. Or they say there is a lot of puffiness, water retention, or the triglycerides is very high in the body. So once we correct that, and then when we give the Rasayana therapy, the body is able to absorb this. And what happens when people do Rasayana? Their mental functions improve. Their cognitive abilities get better. And they feel more alert. And their tendency of being tired and lazy reverses. So it's an overall enhancer of anti-aging. It's like an anti-aging therapy. You look younger, you feel better. So this is like, mostly this was done for kings and the top level of the army in the ancient days. And now we are in a stage where people can access to these things. But your mental state has to be good, your physical state has to be good, and your overall health needs to have certain basic benchmark. And then when we do Rasayana, people are able to appreciate it. There are also multiple intensive Rasayana therapies. There is this concept called Kuti Praveshikam, where you are made to sit in a dark room and you are supposed to consume, your exposure to sunlight is very minimal or not there for a certain period of days. There are very few practitioners who perform this. But in order to do that, a person needs to be very strong in their mind to go through this. And during this period when they are inside, only certain foods are given, certain Ayurvedic medicines, which are combinations of these Rasayanas, are given. And in these times, during the alone time, they have to practice and chant certain mantras. So some of the patients that I have seen who underwent this Kuti Praveshikam, and some of my friend doctors who did this, they come back as a completely new person. When I say new person, what I mean is they say that Now my sleep is super good. I feel my sleep is the best when it comes to restorative sleep. I wake up fresh and my whole body is like full of vitality and it is glowing. Now these are some of the results of these kind of therapies. So it's just one aspect not many people are able to do, because you might have to be in the dark room for a very long period. And there are some scientific studies on this, but I will talk about this more when I invite one of my friend doctor into the podcast and I can have a more discussion about this. But the overall idea is your body, when we do Rasayana, we limit exposure to some of the toxic patterns. When I say toxic patterns, staying late at night, it can be quite unhealthy. Exposing yourself to certain screen time, which need not be good, or exposing yourself to certain triggering conversations or emotional things that can not help you. This is not good. And avoiding yourself from consuming food or alcohol or anything that which is very heavy for the body to consume. So one is to eliminate all these things and put the body in a very good, healthy, nourishing mode, which the body finds it very good. When I say nourishing mode, it's not about things that are sweet and salty. It is about foods that are high in fiber, good in protein, easy to digest, good in micronutrients. And like this, when you do this over a certain period of time, the body's ojas will get better. Now, ojas is a term that is used when all the 7 dhadus are at its best. That is when the vital element of the body goes up. And when this is good, we say the Vyadik Kshamatva of the body. Vyadik Kshamatva is a Sanskrit term for immunity. It's a way. And if you loosely translate the word Vyadik Kshamatva, in many regional languages of India, the word Kshama means forgive. So even if you indulge in something that is unhealthy or toxic, your body can forgive that and move on. That is what immunity is. Your tolerance level to unhealthy things gets better. So the ultimate essence of Rasayana is to improve your vitality to another level. So it's sometimes, you'll see people who goes to work out and they work out like heavy, but somewhere that glow in their face is missing. Sometimes you will see people who are indulging in the best foods, but somewhere they feel very tired and heavy. So that glow, that ojas, is a combination of multiple things. Your mindset, your sleep, your spiritual health, the food you are consuming, your relationship with your work, relationship with your colleagues, and the space that you're living in, and how you deal with your own self, the conversations and the relationship that you have with yourself and your surroundings. All of this comes together, and that is where this glow is happening. And the quality of water that you drink, the quality of the air that you are exposed to. If the place that you're living in, it has a lot of pollution, this will also impact your ojas. So there are multiple factors that contribute to this. And Rasayana is that area where things which are in your control, you make it better. Which includes food, which includes your sleep, which includes certain exercise, which also includes doing some purificational therapies prior to that. And then later you indulge in these therapies, it will overall improve your vitality. That is what Rasayana is.